As I like to say, strap on your psychological seatbelt. Today we're going to talk about something that I think that you're going to find really helpful, and also I think it's pretty simple to remember. It's one of those little wisdom nuggets that you can carry with you and maybe use in the future, kind of reflect on it more. We are going to talk today about something called the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy. If you want to call it the sunken cost fallacy, then you're not alone, because I do too. I just think sunk, it just kind of like sits there. I want it to be sunken, but grammatically, that's not how it was intended. Now, this term, sunk cost fallacy, it actually originated as a term in economics. It looked at the degree to which someone invests in something and then the difficulty that they have later changing course and stopping the investment because they have already invested a lot in it. I'll kind of give some more examples here, but later psychology, of course, came to the scene and ended up expanding on this economic term, sunk cost fallacy, and what it means. So there were a couple of researchers. Hal Arks is one example, who in the 80s did a lot of research on this fallacy. This one way to think about it is a cognitive bias, a cognitive distortion, or just in really lay terms, a thinking distortion, a way that a person thinks about something that actually distorts it from actual reality. So Hal Arks and a woman named Carol Bloomer, they wrote a book, The Psychology of Sunk Cost. But anyhow, there's a lot of great research on this. And one of the things that I like to do as a psychologist is bring, I think, some of the best kind of psychological concepts to my videos so that they can be helpful to people. I like to pull from academic journals a lot of things that I can share with you all that I think are some of like the greatest hits of psychology. So here's the thing. How does sunk cost fallacy work when it comes to what it might mean, why this might relate to why a person may stay in some kind of dysfunctional situation or stay involved in a dysfunctional project they've been working on or stay in a really unhappy, dysfunctional romantic relationship? Why somebody may do this. And the sunk cost fallacy says that the person doesn't want to walk away from a situation that they have already invested in. It's almost like it's difficult mentally to wrap your head around the idea of, well, then what was it all for? What was it all for? Was it a waste? Sometimes a person can tell themselves mistakenly that if they leave or stop being in a certain really dysfunctional situation or project or relationship, that it means that it was a waste, that it means that they never should have done it in the first place. Now, who wants to really think that? Anybody who's invested a lot of time and energy into anything, it's natural for human beings to want to feel like it produced something good. It was worth it. And the thing is, sometimes that feeling can make people want to keep doing it more so that they finally get to that place where they feel like, okay, now it's good. Now it's good. It's almost like this sort of false hopelessness sometimes. Well, maybe if I just stay longer, I just try harder. Now, there is certainly a value in trying to make things better, in trying to improve things, whether it's a project you're working on or a relationship. But a lot of times, people find themselves realizing after a long period of time that something isn't getting better, that something isn't changing. They have enough data. It's not working. And a lot of times, all the different things that a person has tried to make things better have failed. Well, the sunk cost fallacy says that sometimes it is that inflexibility, it is that rigidity that prevents a person from saying, this isn't going to work. I must accept that this cost, this investment I've already made is sunk, and I must accept it rather than continue to try to invest in the same thing and expect a different return. Now, let me give an example, actually, a simple economic example of sunk cost fallacy. And then you will quickly see how easy it is to extrapolate from this example how this sunk cost fallacy can actually work its way into so many other decisions people make in parts of their lives where they stay stuck in something because they have already committed so much. So, one example would be like imagine a company, okay, has invested a couple of $1 million in a project. And, let's say halfway through the project, they realize through different data research that it's actually not working. Well, rather than stop the project, discontinue it. Actually, imagine that company saying, well, we're going to pour in another $1 million and see if just continuing it or giving it more time will make it better. And actually, it doesn't in the end. But what happened was the cognitive bias, the cognitive distorted thinking of thinking, well, if we just invest more, commit even more, stay longer, it will get better. Now, sometimes, of course, when we think about other applications to this in life, when we think about relationships, certain projects you could be working on in your personal life, sometimes things do get better, but a lot of times they don't. So, understanding what this is, the sunk cost fallacy, and how it can sometimes cause people to make certain decisions that aren't necessarily good for them for their future, how this is often at work. Okay. I'm Dr. Seth, psychologist.